Hey guys, Editing Vice here. The video you're about to watch is from a stream we did before the new information drop. That means in this video, I only talk about the things we see in the trailer and not about the new stuff. Just a heads up to prevent confusion. If you like the content, consider to subscribe and like the video. We will do more stuff when Sunbreak comes out. Enjoy! Here we go, Longsword. First things first, Harvest Moon. You get a biggest area where every counter attack ticks twice and you have infinite gauge. That's basically the gist of it. The first thing is infinite gauge. That's not that big of a deal. That's not super huge for Longsword. Sure, you can spam every spirit gauge combo, whatever, and foresight slash without losing your whole spirit gauge. But it's not that big of a deal in terms of damage output. Like you want to go to red and then you want to do your Helmbreaker or whatever you want to do. So that's not that big of a deal, because it doesn't really increase your damage. A good longsword player doesn't look at his gauge anyway. The next thing is, you put it on the ground. First of all, it seems to last pretty long. Like you can easily get one ISS off. The only question is it stackable if multiple people do it, which would be insane. And the second question is, if one longsword player puts it down, does it affect everyone else? If you do a 4-player run with longswords and one just put it down, does everyone get the additional hit in the spirit gauge thingy? And the next thing we saw actually are damage numbers. We saw damage numbers, and this tells us a lot. For example, 102, 47. That's the ISS. And we already see it got nerfed. If we take another look in here, ISS counter has 55 motion value and the ticks 35, which tells that the ISS ticks could deal half the damage from the actual counter hit, but 47 is not half of 102, so they nerfed it. And if we do some math, oh boy, math again, and we say 102 divided by 55 equals 47 divided by x, and we're gonna scramble around the formula a little bit to get x, we will see that the ticks motion value got down to 25. So they nerfed ISS if we take this, because we have no other information. And the next thing we see is the actual additional ticks. There are 4 ticks right here. One tick, what I imagine, is from the counter hit itself, the 66. And the other 3, even though they are applied at the same time, come from the counter ticks, those ones. What I think is, because the counter ticks are delayed and they have the mechanic that they are delayed, the actual additional hits you get from Harvest Moon don't have that delayed thingy. So that's what I think. Well, with those numbers we can actually see more. We can do the same thing. We can do the exactly same thing. We can take 102 divided by 55 equals 66 divided by x. And this one will actually be 35. So the first hit, the first additional hit you get from Harvest Moon for the ISS counter is most likely 35 motion value. The additional ticks are more like 20, 25. The numbers are so low, there's not enough information because the numbers are so low to get an accurate result. So I think they are more in the 20 range. If the counter hits itself, the delayed ones are 25, then the additional hits are more like 20. That's what I would say. Because I don't think it's percentage from the ISS. That would be like, what, 90% from the counter ticks, but only around 60% from the main hit. I don't know, it seems too random for me. And then the last thing is the foresight slash. This one gets 2 additional hits. If you see here, main counter hit and then tick tick, you get 2 additional hits for the foresight slash. But this is only for this one main counter hit. This one, the round slash, doesn't get any. All in all, it's like Bow and Iceborne. When they said that Bow got nerfed in Iceborne, what they actually did was reducing elemental hit zone, elemental motion value by 0.1. That's what they called that nerf, which is, yeah, pretty bad. But in return, you got so many things. You got more elemental attack, you got extra levels of skill, you got Velcana armor, you got 2 critical elements, like all that stuff. And in total it was more like a buff. And I think it will be the same here for Longsword. It's a nerf initially, like that the ISS deals less damage, but in return you deal more damage because of the ticks. And a good longsword player can do an ISS nearly every single time. You can even bomb yourself to get an ISS off. And with mastering armor and new skills, I think it will be pretty strong. I mean, already this one, those attacks are already strong. 102 plus 66, that's 168. And then you deal 90 on tick if you count those together. That's already pretty strong. Alright, but enough about Harvest Moon. Let's go to the Sacred Sheaf, which is also interesting. What we know about this one is if you're on Twitter and you follow Kogath or Gaijin Hunter, they said that the description in the English one right here is not correct. It's actually a counter, more like an auto counter, if you will. The blue flames should give it away, at least for me. They usually indicate a counter attack, but they stated that this description is false or wrongly translated, something like that. But yeah, you get an auto counter attack. We don't know how strong it will be, but pretty huge. Longsword gets another counter. What else do we see here? So this is interesting. Right here we see he's in red gauge. He does a Helmbreaker, drops to yellow, does Sakura Slash, goes back to red, and then he does the special sheaf. So when he is in that sheaf, he charges up like a greatsword. And I have the theory that you can charge depending on your gauge level. Like he's in red, so he can charge to red, actually. There you go. He charges to red because he has red gauge. If we look at the footage before, this one, he has no spirit level at all. It's 0. So the only thing he can do is white glow, instantly attack. I don't think, or I don't know, at least this is my initial reaction, that depending on your gauge level you can charge. If you don't have red, you cannot charge the highest one, which would make sense to give you a reason to go to red and be in red. Otherwise, what's the point? Sure, you get extra damage, but you can just special sheaf combo and do that hit. Furthermore, focus. Is that now a thing on longsword? I mean, yeah, you get spirit gauge more, but with Harvest Moon, it's well, you can put it away. Spirit gauge. Harvest Moon, you have infinite, so that doesn't even matter. But for this charge, focus could be something. And then, of course, the hit lag, the screen shake, must have a high motion value. And more is, does Quick Sheaf actually apply to this? That's a big question. And the bigger question is, what about Punishing Draw and Crit Draw? Does both of them apply only to the first hit or to the full combo? Or do they apply at all? That's also a big question. So, Longsword is a big one. That's a really big one. Yeah, great sword. I mean, technically, it's now a great sword with that charge attack. Yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about. And I'm not sure about this. It seems strong. Like this whole new combo, it seems very strong. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Longsword? Too strong? Too weak? Does Longsword need another buff? And if Harvest Moon goes to every single player in this area, oh boy, they're gonna spam bombs everywhere. It's gonna be Bomb City. You have one light bowgun or something, keep the monster down. 3 longsword players just bombing it away. It's gonna be a big thing. Alright, I guess we can move on to the next.